Dubrovnik, the best-known tourist center of Yugoslavia, is the treasury of the remnants of the rich Renaissance culture. Thanks to its beauty and its numberless historical monuments, Dubrovnik has won the title of the most beautiful town on the Adriatic coast. The islet Lokrum, in its close vicinity, has been chosen for the place of the first international study center of the Yugoslav Junior Red Cross. The only building on the islet, Emperor Maximilian's Palace, in which the participants of the center are going to live, represents an interesting historical monument. This old lonely beauty has been particularly prepared to receive its guests, the participants in the work of the center. The gardens of palms and magnolias, as well as the thick pine woods, welcome the young boys and girls from 7 different countries who are going to spend 15 days here in constructive work and familiarizing with one another. Among the first to arrive in Dubrovnik was Mr. Schusselé, director of the Junior Red Cross League Bureau, who stayed at Lokrum during the seminary. By plane, by train or by boat, delegations were arriving in Dubrovnik, consisting each of 1 leader and 4 members of the Junior Red Cross of the countries taking part in the work of the center: Turkey, England, Austria, France, Italy, West Germany, and Yugoslavia. The work of the center is also attended by Dr. Olga Milosevic, General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Yugoslav Red Cross, as well as by the representatives of Red Cross committees from all Yugoslav People's Republic. By hoisting of the flags and playing the national anthems of all the participant countries, the International Study Center at Lokrum was officially opened. On the same day, the work started. That afternoon, a meeting of the leaders was held, at which, according to a prepared schedule, all the organizational details were fixed. The program of the seminary included 3 branches of the junior activities: health, mutual assistance, and international cooperation. The next day, the intense work started. The theoretical work was so planned that independence and initiative may come to full expression. At the plenary meeting, all the participants were acquainted by one of the leaders with the theme and the points which have to be particularly dwelled upon. Then the group work followed. All the participants were divided into several groups in which, under the leadership of 1 junior member, they discussed independently the theme on the schedule. At the end, all the groups gathered again at the plenary meeting, with the aim that each group may report separately on their conclusions, on the basis of which general conclusions of the center were later made. Indeed, the stay at Lokrum was filled with serious and industrious work, but each day also had its hours of recreation and entertainment. An important aim of the center was creating, through the direct contact, the atmosphere of friendship and confidence among the young generations of different nations. Through the work, conversations, singing and dancing in the free hours, the participants of the center have found the common language in which they talked about themselves and about their distant countries and learned something more about the countries of their friends. A great portion of time was reserved for the practical trainings, which were very often a supplement to the theoretical discussions as well as the checking of these. At the first 8 lessons, for example, experiences and methods applied in different countries were usefully exchanged. Thus, the Germans showed the binding of the wounded arm by means of a scarf. The English delegation demonstrated the correct way of carrying the sick men on the stretcher. Some delegations alternately demonstrated their particular ways of carrying the wounded, as here where we can see the Yugoslav and the German delegation. Also, all other delegations, French, Turkish, Italian, and Austrian, demonstrated their particular methods of work in the first aid as their respective contributions to the mutual exchange of experiences. Through such systematical and practical work in the application of the first aid, the young participants were checking the already acquired knowledge and at the same time were gaining assiduously the fresh one, adopting the useful experience of others and passing over their own experience to them. Within the frame of the first aid training, home nursing of the sick was not omitted, necessary attention being paid to it. The hours of work and study alternated with the hours of entertainment. At Lokrum it was always easy to fill in the free time, but still this also was not left without any plan and a determined aim. Bathing and other various amusements on the beach, such as football or volleyball, were always attractive. And the Red Cross Committee of Dubrovnik organized for the participants of the center a sailboat race, which will remain in their memories as an exciting and rare experience. Work. A special attention was paid to the instruction in the handicraft, which is carried out under the supervision of a specialized teacher. For all of them it was a great pleasure to make these nice little articles of bast, tissue or wood. All these articles will be later exhibited at a common exhibition, and this was an additional stimulation for them to bring all their skill into that pleasant work. With a special love and patience, they were learning how to bind their albums, which will later keep their precious souvenirs, the photographs taken during their stay and work at the center at Lokrum. All of them consider the cooperation in their paper, Lokrum Reporter, as their duty. The paper was issued twice a week, in the English and the French language. The editing staff and the reporters were exclusively the participants of the center, and in their paper they treated problems of the center and the themes which were on the schedule. Before the end of the seminary, the exhibition of the works made at Lokrum, as well as of those which the delegation had brought along, was opened. The most pleasant hours for all of them were those during the numerous excursions to the near and remote places around. They were not only a wonderful entertainment, but they also enabled the participants to know better the country they were staying in, its attractions and beauties. Dubrovnik, the center of the Renaissance culture in this region, was the aim of several visits, being so close to Lokrum. They admired the natural beauty of its position, its well-kept ramparts and fortresses. Familiarizing with its numerous historical monuments, squares and buildings of the Renaissance architecture was a rare artistic experience. A full-day excursion by bus offered them a wonderful opportunity to visit Boka Kotorska Bay and the towns along its coast, Herceg-Novi, Kotor, Perast and others. Boka Kotorska, in the opinion of the participants, represented the peak of the natural beauties so richly spread all along the Adriatic coast. And at last, the visit to the small tourist place Srebreno, where they were the guests of the field unit of the Yugoslav Junior Red Cross of the People's Republic of Croatia, just camping there. Here the foreign guests had the opportunity to see in action one of the branches of activities of juniors about which they had heard earlier from their Yugoslav friends. This meeting with new friends was full of joy, accompanied with merry songs. However, the end of the seminary has come, so quickly indeed that many of the participants felt sad. Mr. Schusselé summed up the results of the work done, and at the end of his speech he said that there were few things he could complain of, but many which can be praised. This was the appreciation to the participants for their serious and diligent work. And then, taking leave started. 15 days they lived like a great family in which all the differences dividing them were forgotten. For 15 days, Lokrum echoed with the common song of the center, which they are singing now together in the large kolo for the last time, for farewell. 15 days they were learning and working here to prepare themselves for the new tasks waiting for them in their country. And which is perhaps most important of all, 40 boys and girls have made friends here with boys and girls from 6 different countries, learning thus to respect and love those countries as well. Each of them was leaving behind a great number of friends and taking along many a dear souvenir and yet stronger desire for work, now enriched by the fruitful experience of the seminary at Lokrum.